210864. Station's your final time cue will be with 15 seconds until airtime. Mark, 15 seconds until airtime.
The following is a presentation of Learfield. Welcome to Duck Insider.
Our whole athletic department, there's a level of expectations of success.
Throw, catch, touchdown, Oregon.
He can run and slam.
He's back out for a three. Left wing is good.
In the air to center, back at the wall. It's out of here.
Really excited that we get to rep our Ducks and hopefully come back to Eugene with some championships.
Indoor track and field national champion.
Oregon repeats as the Pac-12 champion.
And for the fourth time in the last 6 years, the Ducks are Pac-12 champions.
We have so many teams that are excelling right now, and it's really fun to be a part of.
This is Duck Insider on the Oregon Sports Network from Learfield, presented by On Point Community Credit Union. Better banking, local solutions. Live from the Country Financial Studio, here's Joey Mack.
Thank you. It's going to be a busy day on Duck Insider. Oregon just wrapped up a mental sweat practice inside Autzen Stadium, and we went through the keys to the game on the latest Quack Minute that you can find on the Oregon football social media channels with myself and Rob Mosley. One of the keys for me is going to be the trenches. That's key pretty much every time a football team takes the field, wouldn't you say? And, well, I think that Oregon's offensive line, now with a lot more experience, has something to prove. We're going to hear from Alex Forsyth coming up in just a moment. Also, Allen and Mike Jorgensen will join us. We've got a couple picks because Pac-12 play starts tonight. Also, FYI, Ohio State plays Minnesota tonight. I may or may not be watching, but, of course, will not be looking ahead past Fresno State if you catch my drift. We're going to hear also from Paul Leffler. He is the voice of the Bulldogs for Fresno State. We're going to talk with him coming up in about 10 minutes and get the view from the other side as he will have the call on the Fresno State radio network for that 11 a.m. kickoff coming up. We'll have a 9 a.m. pregame show across the Oregon Sports Network. And remember, you can get into the parking lot at 7 a.m. You can enter the gates at the stadium at 9 a.m. And all of the new policies for that 11 a.m. kickoff are available on GoDucks.com. TV audience, Pac-12 Network. Always encourage you to take the Pac-12 Network broadcast, sync it up to Jerry and Georgie on the call. I'll be running around on the sidelines. It's going to be a lot of fun. Cross-country season officially underway. We've got some updates on our latest edition of Throwback Thursday. Scott Phillips went back and found another season opener from, 11 years ago? 2010, yeah, we got that for Throwback Thursday coming up for you. A new Throwback Thursday brought to you by Chinook Winds. And also we'll talk with, Kayvon Thibodeaux. That's the plan coming up today. It's a busy day. Let's begin with Alex Forsyth, an Oregonian. If you watched the Oregon Football Coaches Show last night or you listened to the Oregon Football Coaches Show, you heard a little bit of our conversation with Alex Forsyth. But I got the chance to talk with the Oregonian, the starting center for the Ducks, and it was an awesome conversation. We started out with something that's going to put a smile on everybody's face. Here's Alex Forsyth. Start with the obvious question. Just what's it going to be like having fans in there again, and how much are you looking forward to that?
I've been getting goosebumps all week just thinking about, packed Autzen Stadium when we heard there was fans. I got super excited. We haven't had fans in there since the Oregon State week of 2019, so I couldn't be more excited to get that place rocking, get back to full capacity. I'm excited.
How about the offensive line? You guys feel like you're in as good a shape as you can be heading into the opener?
Yeah, definitely. We got a good challenge coming up. Fresno State's got a really, really good defensive front, really physical. They're going to try to knock us back, so it'll be a great challenge for us. I know we're all just really excited to get after it.
From a chemistry standpoint on the O-line, just how helpful has it been to have a full regular fall camp for you guys?
Yeah, I can't state how important that is. Not just fall camp, but having the off season, the winter. Getting with the guys in the player-led practices. Just building that chemistry and even team events outside of football. Just building chemistry up this offseason has been huge for us. Coming to last year, we had one combined start between the six of us. So, now having at least half of a year under our belt, we're really excited. Having this full fall camp was huge. Every practice, every walkthrough, just getting closer and, building that chemistry up, it's been great.
How different does that chemistry actually feel on the field? Like did you guys have games last year where you're just like, this doesn't quite feel in sync? Or
I think the first few games was kind of like we were all, I won't say we had no chemistry, but it was more we were still over communicating and stuff. But it was more something kind of later on in the year. You can pass off a lot of D-line stunts and all that a lot easier, just because you build up the trust with the guys next to you. just know that they got your back on every play. And so I think especially now, I think this fall camp we really built up that chemistry. Played against we have a great defensive front that we go against every day. So, I think going against them was a huge challenge, and we love going against guys like KT and Popo, Dorless, Mace, Funa. All those guys are making us really great, and building that chemistry up, because they're really hard to go against when they run games and stunts. It's tough to pass off. So I think just going through all that has built our chemistry up, and I can't say how important that is.
What's a successful week 1 look like for you in the offensive line against Fresno State?
Just going out there and executing to the best of our abilities. So we just got to put the guys out there that know what we're doing, why we're doing it, how we're doing it, and just play fast. Just no questions, just everybody doing their job and playing at the best of their abilities. I think that's all you can ask for, is guys just going out there, just kind of throwing caution into the wind and just playing fast, playing for each other.
As you faced formidable defensive front sevens last year, these guys ranked 3rd in the nation in sacks and caused a lot of havoc this past weekend.
Yeah.
What makes them, in particular, a challenge from that perspective?
They all have great motors. Every single one of the defensive guys that you watch on film, they're flying at the ball. They really do 11 hats to the football there at Fresno State, and it's going to be a great challenge. They bring some exotic looks, a little bit exotic blitzes. They're really physical up front, I'll say. All their D linemen that they rotate in are really physical, trying to knock you back. The linebackers are sideline players. They're running sideline to sideline. They're coming downhill, so it's going to be a great challenge. They all play fast and physical. It'll be a great challenge.
Is there one of them that stands out the most, though, for Fresno up front?
All of them are just, you see them on tape. They're all flying to the football, so they're all making plays. So it's really impressive to see how fast they're running to the football. They never give up on any plays. Doesn't matter if it's a long pass, whatever it is, they never give up on any plays. And you saw that last week when they played UConn.
Out of the young offensive line guys, is there anybody that you've kind of been particularly impressed with or has caught your eye?
Yeah. One guy who I've kind of tried to take under my wing a little bit is Jackson Powers Johnson. He's done a great job. He's a great kid. He loves to learn. He's one who really reached out to me and ask for help, and that's the biggest thing you can do is just kind of ask for help as a young guy. So I think he's done a great job. All the guys have done a great job, the younger guys, but him especially, he's really reached out, asked for help on pretty much everything, whether it's class stuff or football in the weight room, whatever it is. He's reached out and he's done a great job of just learning and executing.
He seems so kind of charismatic and energetic on social media all the time. Is that just him 24/7?
Yeah, it's him about 24/7. It's kind of funny because I'm not really like that, but we do get along. We get along really well. But yeah, that's Jackson about 24/7. He's charismatic. He's energetic, and he's a great guy to have in the offensive line room and on the team.
How do you think the competition improved this group? Because it sounds like you were pushed. A lot of veteran guys still at the top of the 2 deep, but Mario was saying they're all pushed a lot.
Yeah, that's what you got to have, because you can't have guys getting complacent. Every year I've been here, the ones have been pushed by the 2s and everything like that. So, that's great. You want that as a player. You want to be pushed, because you never want to stay the same. I don't want to be as good as I was, or my skill level last year. I don't want to be the same. I want to be better. So, I think that's just a huge thing, is competition. It's just gonna breed greatness, I guess. It's gonna make everybody a lot better, and it's gonna make the whole room a lot better.
You've had a lot of time to work with Anthony in terms of, so that you think that chemistry's about as good as it can be now? Obviously, no game reps, but a lot of spring and stuff.
A lot of spring, a lot of film sessions together. Our lockers are actually right next to each other, so that helps too. He's been great. Reach out to me, I reach out to him about blitzes. Pretty much every look we're going to see, I'll reach out, we'll text each other, hey, do you want to watch film? Whatever it may be. That's huge with center and quarterbacks. I always say 5 as 1 right when I get up the line, just talking to the O-line, but it's really 6 or 7 as 1 when you're talking about protections. You got to have the quarterback and the running back on the same page as well. So that's huge for us, is just building that chemistry, especially me and him, center quarterback.
Did you think they put you guys next to each other intentionally, or is that just happenstance?
I'm sure there was some intention there. I'm sure there was some. I might have to talk to Kenny, but I'm sure it was intentional.
When did you kind of really embrace the toolbox nickname, and take us back in time on that one?
Yeah, that actually started with Coach Terry, who's now at Hawaii. I'd play every position, and there'd be Coach Mirabal put the organizational chart up for every team period we were doing, and it would be like, okay, 78's with at right guard, then the next period he's at right tackle, next period he's at center, okay, now he's going to left guard and then left tackle. So there'd be practices where I didn't play the same position 2 racks in a row. I would be going through and doing whatever, so I just had to roll with that, and Coach Terry one day he just started calling me Toolbox because I could do everything. So he just started calling me that, and it just kind of stuck, and that was just kind of my nickname.
How valuable is that, though, for your development, that you were able to do that early on?
Yeah, I can't say that enough. That's huge, and I really appreciate Coach Mirabal, doing that, and he still does that with a lot of the young guys. It helps you absorb and understand the entire offense and our blocking schemes, everything. So if you can understand it from the center position and the left tackle position and the right guard position, let's say, just 3 random positions, you can understand it from pretty much any position. So then when you're put in one place where I've predominantly been playing center, I understand what we're doing on every single play, and that's just the reps that you take. As a young guy, I did that a little bit my freshman year, some my sophomore year, and then 2019 I played a lot of everything, just whatever I could play to help the team. And so I think that's huge for young guys' development, and so Coach Mirabal still does that a lot with the young guys.
Was your locker next to Anthony's last year too, or did they switch that this year?
Let me think. Last year was kind of tough because we didn't really get to go in the locker room a whole lot. Right. So, I don't think we were next to each other last year. I think he was a little bit. I think we were on the same row, but he was a little bit further down. But I was still next to. It's me, him, and KT are next to each other.
So what's the decorum of when you get a new locker partner? Is there a feeling out process of getting to know each other?
Yeah, our lockers. It's not like we're sharing one. It's right next to each other. So, but it's always cool because my locker's moved, I think, every year. Except for last year, I've been in the same one. So it's cool to get to know and especially get to know new guys, guys that are from across the country, maybe different position groups, maybe a defensive back, guys that you don't really, you still talk to, but maybe you aren't that close with. So I think it's a really cool thing that they do in there is they'll kind of pair guys up that from different parts of the country, different position groups, so that everybody can just kind of be cohesive and, come together.
So what's something about him or his personality or New Jersey, or where he's from that you know about him now that you didn't used to?
Yeah, no, I always say he's cooler than the other side of the pillow. He's calm. He's a flatliner. He literally is just the same person every single day, and I love that because sometimes guys can have high energy one day, low energy, and you don't want to be like that. So he's got the best energy because he's the same every single day. He's a high energy guy, but he keeps that high energy. He keeps everybody around him, cool, calm, and collected. So it's great having him in the locker room and having him lead our offense.
He's cooler than the other side of the pillow. I will be describing Anthony Brown that way now the entire season, thanks to Alex Forsythe, the Oregon offensive lineman, starting center. He and Anthony Brown, a lot of good chemistry, it sounds like. Looking forward to seeing them work together to lead this Oregon offense. Saturday, 11 a.m. kickoff, 9 a.m. pregame show here on the Oregon Sports Network. Meanwhile, with cross-country season getting underway, more details on that in a second. But talking about some of those connections to Fresno State, Jeff Tedford, a lot of respect for him around these parts, and especially down at Cal and at Fresno State. He quarterbacked the 1982 Fresno State Bulldogs team when they beat Oregon. Wow. That's one connection. Also, Bennett Williams and DJ Johnson, 2 Ducks, their brothers play for this Fresno State team. There's a lot of connections between Oregon and Fresno State. One of those connections is, my love for tri-tip, and we're going to talk to Paul Leffler about that coming up. He's the voice of the Bulldogs, Fresno State Radio Network. He's going to join us next. Get the view from the other side on the Oregon Sports Network from Learfield.
Welcome to Toyota's National Sales Event.
Thanks. I've been waiting to get a new Toyota all year.
Well, right now we've got exciting offers on our lineup of 2021s, like Camry, Corolla, RAV4, Tacoma.
Highlander! Jan, do you mind watching Chance?
Oh, okay. Listen, Chance, I run a tight ship, so I don't want any funny business. Who's a good boy? Toyota's National Sales Event is on.
Current offers end September 7th. See your participating Toyota dealer for details. Toyota, let's go places.
From the weight room to the classroom, on the field and off it, On Point proudly supports University of Oregon athletics because student athletes do so much more than bring us pride on game day. They bring our entire community together in Eugene and all across Oregon. So whether you're watching the game in the stadium, at home, or at your favorite local business, their success makes all of us stronger. On Point Community Credit Union. Join in. OnPointCU.com. Federally insured by NCUA. Equal housing opportunity.
your daily dose of Oregon athletics. This is Duck Insider from Learfield.
When might you be buzzed? When you suddenly love everything.
You guys, I love this song. I love these nachos. I love our kickball league. Ugh! I love this guy. What's your name? You know what I'd love? A ride when it's time to head out.
If you see a buzzed warning sign, call for a ride when it's time to go home. Buzz driving is drunk driving. A message from NHTSA and the Ad Council.
I love your car. Is this real leather?
Hey, so what's a great way to spread awareness that driving high is illegal everywhere? A catchy song, of course.
You can run, but you can't drive high. You can run, but you can't drive high.
Friendly reminder, don't drive high. If you feel different, you drive different. Brought to you by NHTSA and the Ad Council.
Back on Duck Insider, presented by On Point Community Credit Union. I'm Joey Mack here with you in the Country Financial Studio. Every Thursday during a game week, we try to get the view from the other side, and we're fortunate this week to have that with Paul Leffler, who's joining us, the voice of the Bulldogs. Fresno State going to be traveling up here tomorrow. He'll have the call on the Bulldog side of things coming up here on Saturday. It's 11 a.m. kickoff. Now, I would say, hey, happy opening day, but you guys already had an opening day, Paul, so how you feeling starting the season a little bit early?
You know, it was great. It was so interesting to see all the new things, or the old things that were new again. The fans were back in the stadium. You know, the team was out there executing at a level I don't think we ever saw last year, offensively and defensively. And then it was insanely hot, Joey Mack. I mean, they measured 154 degrees with that turf radiating heat, and guys were dropping like flies, needing to hydrate because of cramps. So that was a new one, and I'm trusting it's not going to be quite that hot at Autzen on Saturday.
No, it won't be. You said 154 degrees with the turf adjustment?
Doesn't that sound impossible? I said, you sure that wasn't the air quality index? Because we've had wildfires. Yeah. I know you guys have too, the smoke blowing through. But no, that's what they actually measured, that heat reflecting off the artificial turf. They had extra cleats on standby in case some of them melted.
Holy cow.
The defense did melt the UConn offense, that's for sure. It was an impressive performance.
No doubt. Hey, so I got to ask you about that. This is season number what for you calling Fresno State football?
You had to ask me that question, didn't you? You know, I have to think about it because I started baseball in 01, basketball in 08, football in 09, so this would be season 13.
Okay.
Season 13 for me.
Have you ever seen 154 degrees on a baseball diamond or on a football turf before?
Maybe in Arizona for some baseball games, but you expect the heat that time of year, right? I mean, it was the start time that was the problem, Joey, because we played plenty of games in triple digits, but usually it's an evening start, so you don't have the sun. You've got the heat, the hot air, but not the sun. This was an 11 a.m. kickoff, and someone said the fans deserve a medal for staying for 4 quarters. I think they were right.
Yeah, I'm with you. Paul Leffler joining us. So a 45-0 drubbing of UConn. I mean, what'd you take away from that game? And by the way, Paul, I just want to tell you, I just checked the trusty weather app. But high of 88, supposed to be about 84 at halftime. I think you're going to be in good shape at Autzen. Now, what'd you take away, though, from that drubbing of UConn? I mean, was that kind of what you expected against a team that hadn't played in a couple years?
I think everyone expected Fresno State to win, but I think it was the way they won. The offense started slow, did not put any points on the board the first couple of possessions, but then you get a great play on defense. Aaron Mosby, who's played safety and linebacker, now he's a defensive end. The Ducks will see him lining up in number 3 on Saturday. He came off the edge, hit the quarterback right as he's throwing, knocked it loose, and then he's athletic enough to pick it up, take it in for 31 yards and a score. So the defense scored before the offense, and that was a little bit of a wake-up call. And from there, we start to see the weapons really show up for Fresno State. They've got an experienced quarterback in Jake Haener, who we know is accurate, has good timing, and he made really good decisions. And he's got some playmakers to get the ball to. Ronnie Rivers did his thing, broke the all-time touchdown record. We saw Jalen Cropper bust loose on an 86-yarder when at one point after he caught the ball, he had 5 UConn jerseys around him. He didn't care. I mean, there are some real playmakers on this offense. And it's going to be exciting to see how they measure up against clearly a much more talented team in the Ducks.
What was the expectation for Haener when he got there as a quarterback? I mean, that's a guy that had Pac-12 offers, and he sure looks the part.
Yeah, well, he's been at Autzen before as the backup for the Huskies, so he knows what the noise is going to be like Saturday. He's had to try to relay signals in that environment. Yeah. I think, when he came here, he had a connection with Jeff Tedford, the previous coach, and Jeff had been at Washington, an analyst, worked with Jake. Jake's parents actually met at Bulldog Stadium, believe it or not. His
really?
mother's a TV news anchor in the Bay Area, used to work here in Fresno. And so he's got a whole bunch of little connections to the Valley. But I think the expectation was, he's going to be a talented athlete. But what we didn't know is what kind of leader is he? And I think we're starting to see that show up in his interviews. It's very clear that he has a real mature perspective, that he's not thinking about, hey, I'm going to go put up numbers, I'm going to do this, I'm going to do that. It's how does it fit into the team, and how can I be the best example? Even to the point that I'm sure you guys are hearing about this in Eugene too, Joey, and all over, the NIL situation, and so many players are cashing in. And when you ask Jake about it, he says, well, I just don't want to be distracted by it. If somebody wants me to do something, I'll let them talk to my dad, but if I make any money off of it, I want to do something for the community with that money and give back and do something for the homeless problem in Fresno or other parts of the city. And so you hear an answer like that, and it kind of takes you back and say, hey, this kid's actually thinking about these things and isn't just looking at the numbers or the matchups or what he can do for himself.
Yeah, we've heard a lot of those stories here around Oregon. It's guys that just want to do it for the right reasons, but they don't want to be distracted. I think that's kind of everybody's approach. Those are the guys that are thinking about the big picture, right? You can't just be thinking about your first move on the chessboard. Got to think about the whole thing. Paul Leffler joining us. He's the voice of Fresno State. We'll have the call coming up on the Fresno State side of the radio network here on Saturday. An 11 a.m. kickoff, officially 11:01, Paul. So I don't know about you, but for us as broadcasters, you got to get through that pregame show quick. There's no 11:06, 11:10, anything like that. So, man, this is going to be a fun matchup. So you mentioned the playmakers, Paul. I mean, that was one thing that jumped out to me against UConn is a lot of different playmakers, a lot of options at the skill positions. Is that a real strength of the Bulldogs this year?
It is. And Joey, Fresno State has had some tremendous receivers over the years. And Jerry probably called all of them, from Henry Ellard and Stephon Page in the early 80s to guys like Bernard Berrien and Rodney Wright. I mean, there's a long list. Devontae Adams, maybe the best receiver in the NFL right now. All those guys came through here. But I have never seen a unit of receivers as deep with playmakers as this year's squad is. You saw what Cropper can do. You have threats all over the field. Zane Pope has been a leading receiver on this team, and he's a backup. Ty Jones, the transfer from Washington, caught a touchdown the other day. If a guy has a single-digit uniform number, he's probably a wideout, and he's probably deadly. You look at 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I mean, they add up. And 2 and 3 deep at all those positions. The running back, Ronnie Rivers, is as good a receiver for a running back as you're going to find in college football. He's also an excellent pass protector. And I'm really interested to see how he does running the football against what's going to be a much bigger, physical, and faster defense than they went up against last week.
Well, I'll tell you what, I think that the defensive line is one position group where my eyes are going to go for Oregon on Saturday. A lot of guys that are replacing some longtime mainstays on that defensive front. So I think that's actually maybe a big key matchup here. What's the vibe on the defense? I mean, you pitch a shutout, you must be doing something right. I don't care who you're playing. You could be playing against air, and if you pitch a shutout, you're doing something right. What's the expectation for the defense this year?
I think that was the most satisfying and probably surprising element of Saturday, that the defense, since they played so many guys, they went 2 and 3 deep at every position. They played a dozen different defensive linemen in that game, literally, and that even the backups were able to maintain the shutout. My only disappointment, and Joey, you're a baseball guy, you know this. I mean, baseball coaches, if they pitch a shutout, they're always doing something for the pitchers in practice, right? Letting them take BP, doing something. I'm saying, well, what does the defense get for a shutout? And the answer is big fat nothing. They get focused on the Ducks. But maybe that's a good thing. It was impressive. Last year, the defense wasn't that sharp. The defense's execution wasn't great. They weren't always in the right place. You can understand why when they had no spring football, no summer football, and an abbreviated fall camp late in the game. But it wasn't that impressive on defense. There wasn't consistency. There were moments, but it wasn't consistent. Saturday was incredibly consistent in tackling, in knowing where you're supposed to be, in working together. There were maybe a couple spots where the secondary let up, made a mistake, and UConn missed a wide open receiver. Other than that, it was a really flawless defensive effort, and I think it really raised expectations around here for what this year's defense can be.
Continuing, Paul Leffler, he'll have the call for the Fresno State Radio Network coming up this weekend on Saturday. Bigger picture for me. I mean, what's the expectation heading into this season in the Valley? I mean, is this a team that you guys feel like can knock on the door of a conference championship and be a top 25 team? Because I'll tell you what, I look at the roster, guys that were already there, guys that have come in. I mean, Paul, I think this roster is pretty darn good.
I would agree with you, Joey. It's one of the deepest rosters that I've seen here in a long time. And, you know, we talked about the wideouts, how deep they are. I mentioned a dozen guys played on the D line. We saw rotation on the offensive line. 4 different running backs carried the ball. The linebackers are rotating in and out. I mean, it's everywhere you look. And maybe even more encouraging, I think the culture that Coach DeBoer has built on short order is taking hold, where you hear the players, Painter, Rivers, other leaders, Tyson Maeva, the transfer linebacker, they're really echoing the same kind of sentiments you hear from the coaches, and you can tell it's sincere. They've bought in. They're all on the same page. You know, that's a building block for a championship team. You don't have a championship team without that. It's a crucial element, and to see that materializing this early is really encouraging. You know, the media in the Mountain West actually picked Fresno State 4th in the 6-team West Division, and I was a little surprised by that. It is a deep division, but I'm with you. I mean, this team has the talent. They have the leadership. They have the coaching. But this game this week is going to go a long way toward, I think, setting those expectations. If they can make this a fourth quarter game with the Ducks and maybe even pull the upset, I think that certainly raises the bar quite a bit. And you're talking national ranking right there.
You mentioned Jeff Tedford. I called a Oregon men's basketball game at Fresno State where Jeff Tedford and the entire football team came onto the court and was honored for what was truly a special season a few years ago. How much has Coach DeBoer's connection with that regime helped kind of just keep things rolling there at Fresno State? And what's Coach DeBoer bring to the table for you guys?
Well, I'd give you my answer, but I think Kenny Wooten just blocked it. So that's all I think about when I think of that game you're talking about there. But no, you know, Coach Tedford, what an impact he's had here in the Valley. He's the last Bulldog quarterback, by the way, to beat the Ducks, 1982 at Autzen, a 10-4 Bulldog win. But for him to
I was wondering if you'd bring that up. Yeah, I was wondering if that would come up.
I had to. I mean, my buddy Rusty Carricker was the punter and ran out the back of the end zone for the game-sealing safety. You know, that's history there. But, you know, Coach Tedford, to do everything that he had done in the game, to really have nothing to prove after his tenure at Cal and taking the Bears as far as anybody has the last half century, for him to come back to his alma mater and say, you know, we're going to get things squared away. Because, you know, Tim DeRuyter, the defensive coordinator there now, is a great guy. But at the end of his tenure here, things had kind of really snowballed on him. They weren't recruiting local athletes. They weren't winning games. The connection to the community had faltered a little bit. And Coach Tedford came back in. He said, hey, this is what we did here in the past when I played for Jim Sweeney, when I coached under Jim Sweeney and Pat Hill before I went to Duckland. This is what we're going to get back to. We're going to recruit Valley players from Central California. Even some of those guys who've gone elsewhere, we're going to transfer them back home. He brings in Marcus McMarion from the Beavers, and Marcus leads them to 22 wins in 2 years and a Mountain West championship. And he would still be coaching if he hadn't had those health problems. But the foundation that he built was significant. Kayvon Thibodeaux has picked up with those pieces, a lot of the same things Coach Tedford was doing. And Coach Tedford is directly responsible for Kayvon Thibodeaux being here. When he took the job, he looked all over the country. He said, who do I want as my offensive coordinator? And I thought that was really telling, Joey, because so many coaches, it's just a Rolodex, right? It's who do I know? Who can I plug in? And he hired a guy he didn't know because he looked at the results. He saw Kayvon had turned around offenses at Southern Illinois and Eastern Michigan. He said, I want this guy in Fresno. And they really do have a similar mentality. They have that combination of humility and confidence and a belief in details matter, and we know how to get this done. And yes, Coach Tedford is still, you know, heavily invested in the program. I know he's going to watch this one very closely and be pretty fired up, probably even more nervous than Coach DeBoer is on Saturday.
Yeah, Coach Tedford around these parts, there's a lot of respect for him and Eugene and around the greater Oregon community, one of the many connections between Oregon and Fresno State. Hey, before I let you go, I saw your tweet earlier this week. One particular split fan between Oregon and Fresno State. Can you tell our fans about this if they haven't seen it yet?
Yeah, and there's a couple players, too. I mean, you've got Evan Williams and his brother Bennett on the Ducks, DeMarcus Johnson, his brother DJ on the Ducks. But, yeah, the photo you're talking about is a great guy by the name of Red Estes. He competed in track and field for the Ducks in the late 1950s before he went in the Marine Corps. He still has his Marine Corps flat top going on. But he and Phil Knight were very good friends during his time in Eugene. Red went on to be the track coach and cross-country coach here at Fresno State, had a Hall of Fame career, but he still very much loves his alma mater. So the shirt was customized by his wife, Myrna. It's got, half Ducks, half Bulldogs. Red did say, though, the Fresno State mask he was wearing when I saw him, that if the Bulldogs beat the Ducks, he's going to make Phil Knight wear that mask. So we'll see. We'll see if that becomes a possibility.
It was great to see. I love following that earlier this week. You can follow Paul on Twitter at P356 Leffler. He's going to have the call on the Fresno State side of things, the voice of the Bulldogs. And we're going to show, for those of you who are not able to watch the show today, we'll head to his Twitter. You'll find it. But we're going to show the picture as well from Paul's Twitter. Paul Leffler, hey, before I let you go, can you do me a huge favor? And I don't know if you're allowed to do this, but if you could just grab a few tri-tip sandwiches from your neck of the woods, I will pay premium for one on Saturday, okay? It's the best tri-tip I've ever had.
Well, I'll call my buddies there at that restaurant and see if they can vacuum pack them for them. And if the tri-tip doesn't work out, we do grow the raisins for the world and the almonds. So if you have a preference, raisin or almonds, I'll have those on standby as a backup.
That's great. Paul Leffler, thanks for the time, my friend. Looking forward to catching up with you in person. It's going to be great to have you at Autzen Stadium on Saturday.
Thanks a lot, Joey. See you soon. Give everybody my best.
When we come back, going to hear from Kayvon Thibodeaux, his thoughts heading into this matchup. The opener, 11 a.m., kickoff coming up at Autzen Stadium, and we'll have it here on the Oregon Sports Network from Learfield.
As my family continued to grow, I realized I'd have to replace my beloved Jeep with something that has, well, more seats. I'm Jason Hines, Country Financial Rep and father of 7. Whether you're upgrading from your sporty ride with no room for a car seat or finally replacing your well-loved beater that still has a cassette player, you'll want the right protection for your new car. Work with a Country Financial Rep like me and get the protection you need at a price you can afford. Learn more at TakeSimpleSteps.com or contact a local Country representative.
From the weight room to the classroom, on the field and off it, On Point proudly supports University of Oregon athletics because student athletes do so much more than bring us pride on game day. They bring our entire community together in Eugene and all across Oregon. So whether you're watching the game in the stadium, at home, or at your favorite local business, their success makes all of us stronger. On Point Community Credit Union. Join in. OnPointCU.com. Federally insured by NCUA. Equal housing opportunity.
You're listening to Duck Insider. Duck Insider on the Oregon Sports Network from Learfield.
Jill, why don't you tell the class what you did this weekend?
Well, my dad and I went in search of some magical minnows and found a zillion of them in the stream from our lookout rock. Then my sister and I escaped from an evil slug king and went back to my super twig fort for safety. Then we told stories till it got dark, and the Big Dipper led us all the way home.
Wow. Where were you, Jill?
We went to the forest. It's not that far away.
Ask your parents to take you and your friends to the forest this week. It's closer than you think. Check out discovertheforest.org. Brought to you by the U.S. Forest Service and the Ad Council.
If a natural disaster comes knocking, how prepared is your family? You can't just close the door on earthquakes, floods, or hurricanes and hope they go away. That's why it's important to make a plan now. Ready.gov/plan has the tools and tips you need to prepare your family for an emergency. So if disaster shows up at your doorstep, you'll be ready. Visit ready.gov/plan and make a plan today. Brought to you by FEMA and the Ad Council.
Back on Duck Insider, presented by On Point Community Credit Union. Jerry Allen's going to join us here coming up in just a moment. Mike Jorgensen via Zoom as well, because we got some picks to make. First, cross-country season officially underway, and we're going to hear from Kayvon Thibodeaux just a moment as well. But for cross-country, how about this? Reed Brown and Alicia Zarbo each picked up an individual win Wednesday while leading the Oregon cross-country teams to victory at the Lewis and Clark opener up in Portland area last night. The men placed 4 runners inside the top 10, while the women of Oregon swept the top 9 spots of the season opening race. 1 through 9 All Ducks. You could fill up 3 podiums with the entire Oregon team. That was very impressive. Really, really impressive. Hey, reminder for everybody who usually tunes in via the TuneIn radio app across the Oregon Sports Network. TuneIn has made the decision that college broadcast this year will be the same as their professional broadcast, where you have to have a TuneIn premium subscription to listen. But FYI, you can listen for free to our call this weekend via the GoDucks Game Day app, also via goducks.com/live audio. And the new app that has been launched, our partners at the Varsity Network, every single college broadcast all in one app on the Varsity Network. You can tune in there as well. It's a new app, still working through some glitches, but I wanted to make sure that everybody knew and wasn't surprised when you went to tune in at 9 a.m. for our pregame show with TuneIn, making that decision that you have to have a TuneIn premium subscription. Before we hear from Kayvon Thibodeaux and we talk with Mike Jorgensen, it's Thursday. That means that our friends at Chinook Winds bring you our Throwback Thursday. Scott, what did we pick this week? 2010, the opener against New Mexico? I remember quite a few punt returns in that one. Throwing it back to an opener from 11 years ago.
Scare will get his foot into the ball. Booms one. Way high. It's not Barner this time. It's Cliff Harris. Harris with a catch at the 40. Sidestep the first man. Going to go outside. Going to block. He's at the 40. Downfield 30. One guy to beat the punter. 20. Straight arm. 10. Touchdown. Cliff Harris. Good snap. Hits the punt away. Wobbly. Harris going to come up. Can he make the first guy miss? Yep. Gets by again. And he's inside at the 50. Off to the races and tripped up, but still on his feet at the 40. Turns the corner at the 20. He is going to score again. Cliff Harris just did it again. We'll run the play and we'll pull it back to throw. Down the middle, wide open. Paulson, David. Touchdown, David Paulson. Beautiful pass and his first touchdown as a Duck. 42 of New Mexico on the snap. Give it to Barner. Go up the middle. Nice hole. First down. Look out. Hey, he's going to score. No doubt. 10-5. Oh, man, is he having a ball game. Kenyon Barner.
Kenyon Barner returned some punts. Cliff Harris returned some punts, and it was never close. So Oregon with an absolute dominant victory. Our Throwback Thursday brought to you by our friends at Chinook Winds. I wish that we had video of the 1982 Oregon-Fresno State game for Throwback Thursday. Unfortunately, the archives did not go back that far, at least for that particular game. Mike Jorgensen played in that game. Jorgie's with us via the Zoom line here today, and he's going to make some picks with Jerry Allen, who was sitting in that chair. But Jerry's gone now, so Jorgie, I think we got to take a break, and hopefully Jerry's going to rejoin us because we got some picks to make. All right?
Okay. I played in which game?
I think we decided that you probably played in the 1982 game against Fresno State, right?
Because of the score? I mean, is that? Do I just get associated with crap games? Is that what it is?
No, according to Sports Reference, you were on the roster. I don't know if you played, but you're listed.
I'm looking it up right now while we're talking. Hey, Tim DeRuiter even referred back to how bad the 1981 team was last night, right? I mean, so there's a chance that this is true, but I'm looking it up.
All right, let us know what you find. That was the last time Fresno State beat Oregon was in 1982 in that 10-4 game. You just heard about it with Paul Leffler a little bit. All right, when we come back, your Slocum Center Minute, the first of our series that we resume this year, talking with Dr. Jackson about Achilles tendon ruptures today. And then when we come back, we've got some picks to make with Jerry and Jorgie here on the Oregon Sports Network from Learfield.
What's with Mountain Dew? Mountain Dew is like a zip line of incredible flavor directly into your brain. Mountain Dew is like getting punched in the mouth with pure neon refreshment that creates a neural explosion, sending flavor shards of electric brain pulses into your very core of being. Okay, maybe that's a little over the top, but you get the idea. The fact is, the mind-bending challenge of describing the taste of Mountain Dew is way harder than just experiencing it. That, of course, is easy. Just grab an ice cold Dew, crack it open, and toss them back. Mountain Dew. Do the Dew.
After 2 years of construction, my wife and I finally moved into our dream home. So when a bathtub fixture broke, causing major water damage, I was glad we had the home insurance protection we needed. How do you know your home is protected? Talk to a Country Financial rep like me, Nick Simon. We can help you understand your options and select coverages to meet your needs. Then if something happens to your home, you won't have any surprises. Need the right coverage for your home but not sure where to start? Visit TakeSimpleSteps.com or contact a local Country representative.
This is Duck Insider, presented by On Point Community Credit Union on the Oregon Sports Network from Learfield.
Hey, son, how are you feeling?
I'm fine, Pops.
What's on your mind?
I can't explain it. Navigating without a compass, eyes waiting, started to wonder. Metamorphosis, the loss of who you thought you was.
When your kid can't find the language, help them find the lyrics. Listen to the Sound It Out album and get tips and tools to start a conversation at sounditouttogether.org. Brought to you by Ad Council and Pivotal Ventures.
Hey, Dad, how do airplanes fly? What's in this box? Is this tree good for climbing? How are babies made? What does this thing do?
Kids are curious about everything, including guns. Talking to them about gun safety in your home is a good first step, but you can do more. Always keep your guns locked, unloaded, and stored separately from ammunition. Safe gun storage saves lives. Learn how to make your home safer at endfamilyfire.org. That's endfamilyfire.org. Brought to you by End Family Fire, Brady, and the Ad Council.
Mega Nugget Cider, presented by On Point Community Credit Union. Joey Mack and Jerry Allen now inside the Country Financial Studio. Jerry's been in the booth at Autzen. He's been at practice today. I've seen him in both places. Now he's been running around the Casanova Center, and, well, now he's here with us. This is the time of year where you're really running around a lot, aren't you?
Yeah, there's a lot of worth running around for. I love this time of the year.
And then Jorgie actually has a job, so he's in his office, but it's appropriately decorated. Jorgie, well done.
What's up, Jerry Beans? How you doing?
Moving on.
Wait, no,
Moving on.
Hey, for those of you that didn't hear the coach's show last night, we got to give some context to that, because we were talking about how Johnny Yams got his nickname, and so then suddenly it came up that if you eat beans and something good happened, I guess that's your name. So Jerry said, "Well, I ate beans, so Jerry Beans."
Thanks, Jorgie. Thanks, Jorgie. I can always count on you to.
Yeah,
I got to be nice here.
Okay, we got a couple picks here on a Thursday night. We'll do the rest of them coming up tomorrow. The regular, well, what does Tobias say in the comments every time? It's the ibuprofen. You need your ibuprofen for Fridays when all of us are together making picks. Your weekly picks are brought to you by our friends at Sylvan Ridge Winery. We've got a couple real doozies tonight, fellas. And where we stand right now, everybody was really boring and picked UCLA.
Wow.
And UCLA won. We got Weber State at Utah and Southern Utah at Arizona State. The first game on the docket, and I got to pick first, 4:30 on the Pac-12 Network, Weber State against number 24 Utah. Utah is a 28.5-point favorite. Over under a 49. Salt Lake City, Utah wins big. Not even a game. Utah wins big, not close. Next up, Jerry Allen.
I think Weber State gets barbecued.
Weber?
Yeah, let's call it Weber because of the barbecue. The grill? The barbecue grill, right? Yeah. Weber State is going to get barbecued.
Oh, man.
Hey.
Are there any Weber State fans out there that are just about to roast Jerry? I mean.
Oh, it's fun.
God, the
You gotta have fun with it.
disrespect.
The Bobcats are, they're up against Utah. Utah is, have fun with them. We get a chance to see a Utah team that has a transfer quarterback that came in from Baylor. Utah could be pretty good this year.
The disrespect.
No, that's not disrespect.
Oh, the disrespect.
Hey, you picked Utah to roast them.
Yeah, but I don't use their name incorrectly. God, that's rough.
Hopefully we don't play Weber State in the future.
God. Man. Jorgie, do you have anything to add?
No, I mean, that just Weber State? I mean, geez.
Barbecue. Yeah, barbecue. Weber?
Oh, no, I get it.
Okay.
Do they make charcoal anymore? I mean,
yes. Yeah, they do. You can't use it because of the air quality, but yeah, they make it.
Okay.
Okay, where are we at?
I get you. Hey, Jerry, I get your point.
Okay.
I do.
Thank you.
Tails for the coin. The road team in Weber State. Next.
Coin is going down.
Next up, God, only Mike Jorgensen so thrilled about that, right? That the coin is going down. 7:30 tonight on the Pac-12 Network. Southern Utah visits number 25 Arizona State. Guys, get this. This is how much the odds makers think this is not going to be a game. The over/under is 55.5. Arizona State is a 45-point favorite at Sun Devil Stadium. Yeah, I've got Arizona State winning big. Even with all of their off-the-field issues that are going on right now, they're just too talented. They're not losing to Southern Utah, right, Jerry?
No, they will not lose. But I think it'll be an interesting ballgame for a little while. I think those off-the-field issues do have an effect on you, and maybe your focus is not quite as good as it could be. But, I mean, the talent difference is just too great.
Jorgie?
Yeah, huge talent difference. Yeah. And yeah, Arizona State, I mean, they want to get back to football and get away from all the distractions. Yeah. And here's a good way to do it.
The coin flip, tails. Going to be a rough day for the coin, or the coin's about to look real smart, picking some upsets. So a bunch of boring picks for us. The coin is already starting to take some risks, and that's it, fellas. Our weekly picks brought to you by Sylvan Ridge Winery. Jorgie, thanks for taking the time. We'll see you tomorrow here in studio, huh?
Yeah, I sent you a little link on 1982 just to get the clarification out there, okay? So I just I'll let you read through it during one of your breaks, okay?
So what's the clarification? Can't you just tell me? I haven't gotten anything from you.
I think for Fresno State it was Kevin Lusk. It was not me.
Okay, so
I'll take the blame for that season and a lot of games, okay? I mean, I just will, because we were terrible. I think I just read Oregon scored 109 points in 1982. Offensively. I played on the offensive side of the ball, just for clarification. Some people would question that, but I did. 109 points in 1982. That's tough to do.
So, yeah, we were looking back.
Obviously.
We were looking back, and so it looks like,
I'm sorry.
Yeah, so there were 4 different quarterbacks in 82 that have statistics in the box scores. So,
but hey, 0-0, I played in that game too. Even though I didn't, but I did. You know what I mean? It's just that's the way it works.
No, I don't know what you mean. Even though I didn't, but I did. You want to clarify that one too? I mean,
Jorgie's really gone all in on just speaking in cryptic code as we wrap up our Sylvan Ridge Winery picks.
Hey, when did you bend your leg? I won't say break because I don't want it to be. What year was that?
That was at the end of 83.
83, okay.
Okay.
All right.
Yeah.
You ever
Mike
get
Jorgensen.
it straightened? You never got it because it's still got a little bend. Never mind. Go ahead.
That'll do it.
That's the nose. The nose has a little bend to it, not the leg. So,
Jorgie, we'll see you here tomorrow. And hey, thanks for taking the time, buddy. Always appreciate it.
All right, Joey, JB, good to see you guys.
No. Oh, look at the time. I gotta go.
He just disconnects. That was the Zoom version of a mic drop, and meanwhile, Jerry Allen is out of here. All right, miscommunication last time. Now we're going to learn a little bit about Achilles tendon ruptures to really take a left turn here from Dr. Jackson on our Slocum Center Minute. We also have Kayvon Thibodeaux coming up after this on the Oregon Sports Network from Learfield. Welcome to the Slocum Center Minute. Slocum Center orthopedic doctors are located here in Eugene and are the official orthopedic team physicians for your Oregon Ducks. With me, I have Dr. Lyle Jackson, a foot and ankle orthopedic surgeon at Slocum Center for Orthopedics and Sports Medicine, discussing Achilles tendon ruptures. Dr. Jackson, tell us about Achilles tendon ruptures in athletes.
Achilles tendon ruptures in athletes are fairly common, especially in explosive sports like football, soccer, basketball. Oftentimes, athletes will describe being kicked in the back of their leg when nobody was there.
What's the recovery look like after you go through something like that?
Well, it can take a while. It definitely it's a season-ending injury for athletes, and that's regardless of whether it's treated surgically or non-surgically. There's certainly some advantages to treating surgically in athletes, and that's mostly to restore that length-tension relationship to the tendon. So most athletes end up having them fixed surgically.
Dr. Jackson, thanks for the information. Thanks for what you do.
You're welcome.
That was the Slocum Center Minute, brought to you by Slocum Center for Orthopedics and Sports Medicine, the official orthopedic sports medicine team physicians for University of Oregon Athletics since 1967.
Dear past, present, and future football watchers, football is back! So consider this your official excuse for always putting football watching first, courtesy of Pepsi. That haircut appointment? Seeing the in-laws for the first time in ages.
It's been so long.
Nope, sorry, Susan, not if it's on Sunday. Long story short, after the year we've all had, we think you could use a little football watching. So crack open a Pepsi and cheer your football watching face off. With love, Pepsi. Made for football watching. That's what I like.
From the weight room to the classroom, on the field and off it, On Point proudly supports University of Oregon athletics because student athletes do so much more than bring us pride on game day. They bring our entire community together in Eugene and all across Oregon. So whether you're watching the game in the stadium, at home, or at your favorite local business, their success makes all of us stronger. On Point Community Credit Union. Join in. OnPointCU.com. Federally insured by NCUA. Equal housing opportunity.
More Duck Insider coming up on the Oregon Sports Network from Learfield.
Adopt US Kids presents What to Expect When You're Expecting a Teenager. Learning the lingo.
Jelly. Jelly adjective. Jelly is a shorter, better way to say jealous. As in, Chloe, I am like so jelly of your unicorn phone case.
You don't have to speak teen to be a perfect parent. Thousands of teens in foster care will love you just the same. Visit adoptuskids.org, brought to you by the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services, Adopt US Kids, and the Ad Council.
What is dedication?
My daughter started making necklaces. She makes what we call affirmation fashion. I tell her every day that your black is beautiful. And if there's anything better than being beautiful, it's being smart. And if there's anything better than being smart, it's being kind. And reaffirming that every day is our method of making sure her chin never drops.
That's dedication. Visit fatherhood.gov to hear more. Brought to you by the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services and the Ad Council.
Back on Duck Insider, presented by On Point Community Credit Union. Joey Mack at the Country Financial Studio. My thanks to JB and Jorgie for joining us. We've got our Sylvan Ridge Winery picks coming up again tomorrow for the rest of the Pac-12 action. I'll be tuning into Ohio State, Minnesota. This is why you need 4 TVs. It's a night like this. I'm telling you, it's the only way to live. And for those of you who are about to comment about that, yes, it is true. I do not have kids. Multiple TVs, though. You pick your battles. Kayvon Thibodeaux this week talked with the media about, well, what he's thinking about heading into this Fresno State opener, and talked a little bit about the bigger picture, too, with Kayvon Thibodeaux.
Describe your excitement level right now of just, how would you describe your excitement level right now of fans being back in the stadium, kind of a normal season again?
I mean, for me, I'm just trying to keep a level head. You know, having your family back out there, having all the friends and everybody get to come in and kind of enjoy it. I mean, that's the joy of football. That's why we play.
Fall camp, just the takeaways of how prepared are you and how prepared is this team?
I think it's become a lot more mental. We got a lot of talent. We got a lot of guys that want to fly around. But, you know, coming in late in the fall camp, we've been able to really lock in and focus on, you know, the different schemes and the different things we're going to face.
Fresno State puts up 45 points against anybody. That's pretty impressive. What kind of stands out when you've watched this team on film?
They're a great team. They got a lot of playmakers. They go a lot of linear and side-to-side runs, so, you know, there are going to be a lot of things to watch out for. They try to catch you with different movements in your eyes and you got to make sure you really lock in on your keys and assignments. But overall, they have a great team. I feel like it's going to be a good matchup.
Been have a game for you where not just obviously they can throw, but against a running back who is as prolific as him, that showing that run-stopping ability off the edge as well.
Yeah, I feel like stopping the run is, you know, going into any game, stopping the run is the main point. But, you know, this game is going to be a big test for us to, you know, really show how far we've came and, you know, from last year to this year.
What's it been like watching these competition battles go on throughout fall camp between your teammates?
It's been great. Competition really breeds the best players. And, you know, if you don't have competition, you don't have a good team. So just seeing, you know, people want to get better and people fighting for those spots, it really makes it fun.
Keon won that starting job at nose tackle, or defensive tackle, excuse me. What did you see from him this year? Yeah,
Keon has had a big development. You know, last year, a couple years ago, not last year, but, you know, as freshman, he was on the scout team, and he's a guy who really used that to his advantage to get better and to really grow. So to see him kind of step into his place and really find his role on this team is amazing.
You played with Popo, too, and just his time, it's here now. He's waited behind Jordan. Just what's it like going to be for him?
Him just growing his confidence, seeing, you know, from last year to this year, him playing with a lot more confidence, a lot more physicality, and a lot more just dominance on the field.
I jumped in a little late, but Braden told us a couple weeks ago that you and him had done a lot of work in the offseason. He kind of viewed you as a mentor in that way and helping refine the technique in his pass rush. what were you kind of doing with him, and what was that like, kind of taking on a bit of mentorship role in that way?
Just growing. We have a lot of young guys in our room, and it's been a really quick turnover just from me being a young guy to an older guy. So just kind of trying to relay that information that I have just on the ins and outs of football, just as far as like, the finer things, the reading between the lines of the game and how to, use it to your advantage.
How's the balance between just getting ready for the season and then dealing with all the NIL stuff kind of been for you?
Well, for me, it's really helped me prioritize, what matters. For a lot of college guys, you got to remember that, the main thing is the main thing, and playing football is the main thing right now. So not only just focusing on football, but then realizing that, there's not really much time for leisure and for fun. You got to really focus, and if you use this time right, you can really set yourself up for the future.
When you're looking at just kind of the strategy of what it looks like you're trying to do with these deals, like a lot of guys are doing smaller local companies. I mean, you're with blue chip multinationals, with United and working with Tinker Happy. I mean, is that a strategy that you're trying to do, is working with some of those bigger name brands as you set yourself up for the future?
I feel like that's something that, a person in my position is able to do, and not only am I able to do it, but I really hone in on it so that, your brand is everything. If Nike was wide open and they just did a lot of stuff, and, it would kind of dilute the essence of the brand. So for me, I kind of want to, put that out there that I'm very tight-knit on, my strategy and how I want to do things. So just kind of putting that into the business side has been pretty fun.
It's been about 2 years since we've gotten September football at Autzen Stadium. I mean, is there some anticipation from you guys to be out here, some normalcy again, and get back on the schedule at a time where you guys are more accustomed to?
Now it's just going to, it's really a test of how, the people who haven't played in front of a crowd, how they handle it. Because a lot of guys have done it before, but this is going to be the first time a lot of our team has played in a big crowd in the stands. So, just being out there with them is going to be fun.
What have you done to kind of get some of those younger guys ready? I mean, can you even do anything mentally to simulate that and say, this is what it's going to be like when you get out there and there's 55,000 fans?
Coach Cristobal creates a lot of adverse situations, getting us tired, having a real background noise, the white noise in the back, just making it real loud and making it real hectic so that, when the fire gets hot, we'll be able to fight through adversity and, come back, in the time being.
First game with Coach DeRuyter as the defensive coordinator, you had him in the spring, you've had him in scrimmages. How comfortable do you feel with him, calling the plays on defense?
I feel like his play call is really strategic and it's really smart. He doesn't really get too nervous, and he really has a plan for everything. So just being able to see how that works into a game and letting us go out there and play free, I feel like it's to our advantage.
What excites you about this team? Like, we haven't seen you practice in a while. Fans haven't seen you play in a while. What are you excited that people to see on Saturday?
Growing up being a kid, Oregon has always been a really fast and physical team. So now, not only us being even faster and even as physical or more, we have a lot of talent on defense and offense to really rev up that ability. So, just sticking to the fundamentals and the ins and outs of the game is going to help us carry our talent to the next level.
You're a really studious guy. I mean, Coach DeRuyter, that's kind of been his calling card over the course of his career, is kind of mad scientist-y in terms of how he operates the defense and his ability to distill some of those terms down really well as an educator. I mean, does that jive with kind of how you like to learn and how you kind of look at your role as a defensive mentor?
I feel like the best teachers know how to teach anyone. And I say that to say that Coach DeRuyter has done a great job with not only making it simpler for some, and then also teaching the ones who can get it and get it faster, like the whole defense. He's done a great job with me personally, just showing me the back end and the front end and how they work together, so that, when in doubt, I'll know what the man next to me is doing, I know what the man behind me is doing, so that, it works cohesively.
Good stuff from Kayvon Thibodeaux. Great way to wrap up the show today. My thanks to Paul Leffler, KT, heard from Alex Forsyth, Jerry, Jorgie. We're going to do it all again tomorrow. Full preview of that 11 a.m. kickoff. See you then.
These are the sounds of a dinner that almost didn't happen. A dinner now served thanks to people like you. Due to COVID-19, 17 million more Americans may face hunger. Feeding America is helping our neighbors in need. And if you're able, you can too. Donations are being accepted at feedingamerica.org/coronavirus. Brought to you by the Ad Council.